This
Workstream.
conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to the Circularity and Workstream, Circularity and Lifecycle Workstream for OCP Sustainability. It's one of the new initiatives, and thank you so much for your participation to date. Just to recap, myself and John from Intel, we co-chair this. We've been at this since about March. Summer, we were we tried to get into a lot of the concepts and discussions. In spring. Around summer, we started doing the briefs and the templates to outline our thoughts on the 5 stages that we thought would embed the circularity concepts into the ICT world. Around summer, we got a little bit into the conference proposal submission and making sure that there would be a sustainability track, which was a success, as you all know. And that summit is coming up in November. And then in the last 2 months, we've embarked on this journey of creating these guidelines. So I kind of want to pick it up from there. And we deliberately skipped the meeting 2 weeks ago to give ourselves time to self-coordinate, write, etc., because we know that there are so many meetings, and plus we have our day job, so to speak. So today we're kind of coming back for almost after a month. So we're going to try and regroup and see what kind of work is out there and how we can start consolidating some of that towards a common deliverable from this group, as well as from OCP Sustainability itself. So that's the purpose of today's call. I also invited Archana from OCP staff I would actually ask that the first about 10 minutes of this call be reserved to answer any questions about the conference, attendance, remote versus in-person, what is due when, etc. So I wanted to dedicate that time because we've been getting a lot of questions, and frankly, the co-chairs are not exactly the best source. So with that, let's kick it off. And after Archana, we're going to dive right into the status of where our 5 smaller guidelines are, address any issues or challenges, and then we're going to end the call with the next steps on how to generate content and put our good minds together in this fall season. So Archana, I'm going to hand it over to you, and I would love to maybe you could give us a brief overview of where things are at, because so many of us are speaking at the summit, and then invite some questions.
Okay. So folks, as of right now, we've been getting a lot of questions about whether the summit is still going to happen given COVID and travel restrictions and whatnot. And I wanted to let you know that yes, the summit is still happening. We are planning to go forward as planned. It is a hybrid summit. And so what does that mean? A hybrid summit means that we are expecting people to travel to San Jose domestically, and those now that can travel internationally to come and actually attend our summit in person. So there's definitely that in-person element. As far as attendee registration, we are on par with our 2019 numbers at the same time. So this is pre-COVID. So the response so far has been really good from the attendee registration. And our sponsors are still sponsoring events. No one's pulled out. So the expectation is that it will be a very successful event. We are expecting anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 people at the present moment, given what we know. And those that have registered, or those that have submitted presentations and in their speaker profile have said that they are planning to attend. You should have gotten, if you're a speaker, you should have gotten a few emails from us, from Kate Kendall, who's our speaker manager, reminding you to let us know and confirm your registration, confirm your attendance at the summit if you're a speaker, and that the speaker first draft presentations are due on Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, as in like September 24th. And what will happen after that is right now your abstracts are conditionally accepted, which basically means that we accepted your abstracts based on 4 or 5 sentences that you provided us. And so the project leadership here would like to see what your presentation is about and see if it still reflects the abstract and the essence of what the OCP sustainability community is trying to do. They will review those presentations over the next week. So from the 27th of September down to, the first week of October, they'll be reviewing them and they will provide you feedback. And this is something that we've done for all past summits. So we do give you feedback on, hey, this is great, or hey, we need more detail, or hey, elaborate this point. And after that, your final decks are due October 15th. Why so early? Well, there's only 9 of us in this foundation, and we have to make sure that everything is uploaded, everything is in the template, everything, is ready to go come November 8th. So yes, it is early, because that is one of the concerns that we received, is why so early? Why do you need final decks on October 15th? And this is the reason why. We just want to make sure everything is accounted for. Now, having said that, we also have to be flexible because speakers sometimes change their mind. Speakers sometimes change. And if you cannot be here in person to give your presentation, we want the opportunity to invite someone else to take that spot or open it up, to open discussion. So right now, yes, if you are coming in person, we would like to know by the end of the week. If you are unsure, please let us know that as well, just so that we know that you received our email. If you are attending remotely and you know for a fact that you cannot travel and make your presentation in person, you have one of 3 options. Option number 1, you can get a local colleague to present on your behalf, someone that could attend the summit. If that option doesn't work, you have 2 other options. One option is that you pre-record your session, and we still would like to see and hear what you say. So if you cannot attend, please just don't walk away from the summit. We would love to hear what you're saying. What we'll do is take your presentation and put it up on demand. And, one of the project leads here will, let the audience know that you were unable to attend, but that your presentation is still on the tool and that they can still access your video as well as your slide deck. So your message is still going to come across to our audience in your words, and we want to encourage that. So if you cannot attend in person, please do submit your slides and your pre-recording by October 15th. You can use whatever tool you want to do the pre-recording. I've had people do it on their cell phones. I've had people do it on their own corporate conference tools, and they just send us an MP4 file.
Archana, one quick question relevant to this stream of thought is, if you have a panel presentation and 1 or 2 out of that panel are remote, do you want us to pre-record the whole presentation? Because you can imagine there's interaction between speakers that gets completely cut off if just that 1-person panel is coming in video. Or do you say that OCP is standardizing around saying, let those who can attend in person does the panel in person, and the recorded pieces come in as its own? Because the challenge is that the moderator cannot do Q&A in the end because the other person isn't there.
Yeah, so remote attendees right now, there's 2, it's in listen only mode. So if you are, joining from another part of the world or another part of the country and you cannot join in person, you'll still be able to go to the tool. If you are, part of the virtual all access, you'll still be able to hear and see what is going on in the room live, but you'll just not be able to talk. So it's a listen only mode, unfortunately. Right now, we don't have the capability to pipe someone in audibly into a room. So to answer your question, Bamida, is that a remote panelist will not be able to participate in the interaction audibly. Now, having said that, there is a whiteboard on our tool, there's a chat function on our tool, and they can provide, answers to questions. If they can't do it using their voice, they can still do it using the chat function. But at the present moment, we do not have the capability to pipe someone in audibly into the room.
Will there be Wi-Fi in the convention center? So in other words, if there is Wi-Fi and the moderator chooses to use his or her own Zoom or phone line so that the remote speaker can at least participate in the Q&A process, how do you feel about that?
I think people are going to get creative with using tools that are out of our purview. And there is Wi-Fi available all throughout the convention center and, in the rooms itself, because it gives people the opportunity to go online and chat. And, but right now, yeah, it might be a bit tinny, but you could potentially use that mechanism to get questions answered. We are refraining also from putting a giant screen on, and piping in video, like pre-recorded video. We want to minimize that because people are there for the interaction. And so unless it's a demo or it's a quick little, 5 or 10 minute blurb, we don't want to put like a 20-minute video up on a screen. We'll lose people, right? People will just get up and walk out and go attend a live session and know that this is going to be available on demand later, and go back to it.
So basically, you're based, just to kind of sum up this section, because so many of us are interested, we should not pre-record an entire
correct
45-minute panel,
right?
But just the pieces of the speakers who are not able to attend.
Exactly, unless all of the panelists are not able to attend, right? For some freak chance you can't get any panelists. Yeah, then at that point in time, yes, I would love to put the entire panel up on the up on a 45-minute on-demand video, but that panel will not be played in the room. That 45-minute panel will not be played in the room. We can use that 45 minutes for a different session, or open it up to discussion, or however you all want to lead it, right? That would be much easier to do. So that's the third option, is that, hey, if none of the panelists are available, or none of the speakers are available for a given presentation, then let's use that time somewhere else, and then let the audience know that that session is available on demand, and they can actually get access to the information. So
let's open it up for questions for Archana while she's here. This is very valuable. Thank you, Archana.
So I do have the summit website in the chat. When you click on that website, there are several things that are available. Registration, number one, is open, so you can go and register. If you are a speaker, we are not sending out speaker codes until we get confirmation that you're going to be there in person, and that the project leads have had a chance to review your presentation. So you will receive a speaker code for a free pass to the summit if you are speaking by October 15th. So that's just one thing I wanted to let the speakers know. Health and safety is our current update on everything that we're hearing from the CDC and the Biden administration. They have relaxed the guidelines as early as this week, from international travelers for non-US citizens. So that's actually really good news as far as we're looking at it, because now people can travel in. Before it was restricted to US citizens only, and now they've opened that aperture. So anytime we get an update from either the county or from the convention center or from the CDC, we update it there. Travel has local hotels that you can call and make reservations at. The schedule is available online, the detailed schedule, so you can go and see what the sustainability track looks like. And then speakers, for those that are looking for templates and PowerPoints and all of that, they can go to the speaker tab. They'll see all of the deadlines in the speaker tab, and they can also download the PowerPoint template. Hopefully I've addressed a lot of your questions.
Hey, Archana, I have one quick question, and this is related to the previous question on panel. Imagine you have, let's say, 4 or 5 panelists in a panel, and in last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, 2 of the panelists decide that they cannot travel to the convention center. So, what would you recommend the track owners do in this case? You have a moderator with, let's say, only 2 panelists left on panel, and the rest of them are unable to travel to the convention center. What would be the recourse in such a situation?
I think, DJ, this is a case-by-case basis. So I think you and the other team leads are going to have to decide whether you can continue the panel with just the existing ones that can come in, or if you want to take the entire panel and move it to a pre-recorded session, and use that time in an open discussion, or use that time for another topic, or use that time for another speaker. So I think there has to be some level of flexibility, because corporate travel guidelines are changing as well. And I'm going to kind of leave that up to you all to decide how you want to use that time. I don't know if it's going to make sense to have, maybe we shorten the panel time, right? From 50 minutes to maybe say 30 minutes, and give the remaining panelists an opportunity to converse with the moderator. That's one option. Or like Famida mentioned, maybe we pipe in somebody else, right? Through some sort of an audio function on someone's phone or Zoom line or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
These
the
are
whole
kind of
thing,
uncertain times. So
yeah, it is, but it is time to plan. So first of all, thank you for at least sharing where the current guidelines are. I think many of us are in that situation where we've chosen to go with the panel, and half of the panelists are in person and half of them not, and sometimes they are not sure, depending on where things are with their family and health and everything. So I think it would be mighty nice for OCP to improve the wireless connection of the location as much as possible, so we can get creative on using Zoom, and at a minimum phone line. It's all the so many seminars and summits are happening these days with perfect technology, and people are speaking on panels and even keynotes from the remotest part of the world. So anything we can do to improve the technology access between now and November, I think would be really appreciated, because it creates equity of access, and it just, it'll just make us a little bit more flexible to accommodate those who don't have the bandwidth to show up in person for either personal reasons, or sometimes the companies are not
right.
recommending.
And Famida, just to kind of give you guys a heads up, we are getting quotes for this because we've gotten such an overwhelming response from our audience, but for exactly that. Right now, it's just a matter of cost, and it's a matter of resources. So we are working on that. It is going to go before the board because it's a little beyond the budget that we were anticipating. And things may change, right? This is a dynamic industry. Our times right now, travel guidelines are changing, and so we're going to have to adapt. So I'm not saying that we're not considering it, but as of right now, that capability does not exist, and I have to kind of go with what's right now. Like I said, we'll keep everyone posted as soon as anything changes on our end. But we do recognize that that is a gap, especially because this is a global summit and we are trying to entertain, participation from all over the world, and travel is just not going to be feasible, given, the travel restrictions, and even personal, right? A lot of people just, even though they could travel, and their corporation allows them to, it's a personal choice, and we have to respect that. So completely agreed, feedback well noted, and yes, we are working on it.
I'm sure the organizers are taking a lot of arrows these days. So our support and sympathies as well. And thank you for doing whatever you can to, there are a lot of forces here. So we certainly
Yeah.
acknowledge that.
Okay.
Any other burning questions for Archana while we move into the content portion of this circularity lifecycle meeting? Because we have a lot to talk about there too. Maybe we can take one more question. All right, Archana, thank you so much.
Yeah, and if anyone
Please,
has any
yeah.
questions, I was going to say, and something comes up later and you want to get a hold of either me or Kaylee Burdett is our event director. I would, reach out to her or, Kate Hendel as well. All three of us are interchangeable and we're here to help. So please let us know and we'll do what we can. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Yes, feel free to hang out.
Yep.
Thank you, Archana. All right, so let's do a quick show. I'm going to share my screen. This remains also the most popular question. Where is the directory? Where are the documents? I'm going to demonstrate this one more time. So this is our Google Drive for all the work from this team has been organized and stored in this directory that John and I have been sharing for the past month or so. If you go there, you will see something like this. There's the PowerPoint presentation, which is just a very generic outline of our work, our direction, our goals. I even put a picture of myself and John in there just to make it very easy to find, so you know that you've arrived at the right place. And then the notes are in the document section. The how-to guides are stored here, and the life cycle phase briefs are here. Briefs are the outlines that we worked on in springtime, and the how-to guides are basically the fleshed out version, the written out version of the phase brief. So that's that. If anybody's still here who hasn't gotten the access, please write to John Miranda. John, thank you for doing this for us, but I do not have I am not the keeper of this choreography. So John has to add you, and sometimes if there's a firewall issue with your company email, then he needs your Gmail to be able to add. So when you're contacting John, please provide both your company email and Gmail so you can get to this. Many of you say you still don't have access. We're really sorry. We don't know why not, but potentially it's that Gmail address that's probably that's how it needs to go through. But we haven't met in about a month, so I hope it's not the access that's kept you from actually putting in the work. So let's go to the how-to guides, and these are the 5 subtopics. Design for circularity, or design with the end in mind. The flip side of that is end of first life. Then how to the manufacturing or the make of it, sourcing materials, and the use phase. End of first life is where we have a good version, and that's what we wanted to, or we have been holding up as an example to encourage you and provide you with ideas, content, and this is the one John, myself, and Vish have put together. It talks, the introduction is about why this topic is important, what are the top challenges for reuse. There's a lot to say, but it's best to pick 3 to 5. And then the main area, the meat of it, a group can choose to do some sort of a process flow that explains what their section is about. In our case, we chose a self-assessment matrix type of a thing, a checklist that somebody could check through in order to say, am I thinking through all the relevant sustainability circularity criteria for this product to be ready for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, nth life of reuse. So, and then there's a concluding section, which is what are next on industry collaboration. So this is where the things that we cannot solve right now, we have aspirations for, we note them down, And as we have found, this is easily a 5-pager. It could be a lot longer, but 5 is the goal. So I'm going to stop here and take all your questions and feedback, see how you're doing so far with your guides.
Hey, Famida, this is Jordan. I was wondering if I could ask a question. So this one is specific to end of first life and reuse?
Yes, I'm just showing the example right now of what's in this folder. Yes, and we had created a subfolder for the other 4 areas as well. Oops.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I was just like looking at some of the areas, and sorry, I haven't had a chance to look through all of them yet. But I saw a lot of aspects around design. So I think I know one of the things that we were talking about are, sorry for my voice. Excuse me.
Hope you're feeling okay.
I think, yeah, I'm feeling fine, thanks. I think one of the things you were talking about is where there might be some overlaps between some of the how-to guides, and I'm just wondering how specific to your life cycle stage should we be making these how-to guides? Because I saw a bunch of mentions of design in that particular one.
So one realization through this exercise, and this was inevitable, sooner or later it was going to come up, is that we also need to produce a consolidated version, because a lot of the introductions are common between phases, and a lot of the conclusions are common between phases. So the second part of the discussion is going to evolve into, once each of the group has had the opportunity to produce what's uniquely true for their phase, either a checklist or a process flow or an in-depth discussion of the challenges of that phase, we are, and by we, I'm actually volunteering to draft that, and would love help from others or the co-chairs, a consolidated guideline of all the phases where the common introductions can float to the top, and the common conclusions of, hey, let's collaborate, let's peer review, let's do one big diagram of circularity. The things that we obviously know will kind of coagulate, that's going to be in that document. So if we say 3 to 5 pages per guide, we can all do the math and know that the consolidated guideline will be about 20 pages or so. And that's a fantastic publication material that we can aim to do. I will also add to say that, I don't want to impose my vision of this on all of you. So I'd really want to get some feedback if you think that would be a good direction. And if we choose to go there, then talking to OCP staff seems that if we want to go into that route, there are processes. We have to kind of present that final presentation to the incubation committee. They have to approve that, and there are specific timelines for it. So we are not ready to kind of finish all this by early October to show this to the incubation committee, who meet, I believe, in the first week of October. But the next opportunity is in late Feb. So that gives the co-chairs and a few others a little bit more time to tighten up all the pieces into a consolidated OCP circularity guideline that we can get approval for, put it in a nice template, and actually publish it as an OCP work product. So anybody else want to show their work in the past month? Sorry, there was another question.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Famina, this is JM. Yeah, I don't have into a nice format like this yet, but we've been doing a lot of work on circular